So recently, I had the opportunity to build a file app for a client. This included features like multi-select deletion, searching files, and zipping file downloads. This got me thinking, what would it take to turn this simple client requirement into a fully fledged app that could be distributed on the AppExchange? So I spent 2 months working on refining this code into a managed package. And after some long nights, we now have better files by one sync. This is a free package that improves some of the frustrating aspects of working with files in Salesforce. But what I wanted to cover today was some of the cool processes done to build this, as well as how I passed the AppExchange Security review on the first try. One of the best ways to write better code is using static code analysis. With the new release of the Salesforce Code Analyzer, we can scan for common vulnerabilities within our code base. This is the next iteration of the SFDX scanner tool and is the new preferred tool for sending static analysis in the review process. To run, we can simply go and install the plugin as follows. Once that's installed, we can run the following command to run the Code Analyzer. We're using the AppExchange rule set to go and scan for specific vulnerabilities. This will output an HTML file that we can go and view in our browser. This HTML report is a good way of seeing the vulnerabilities at a high level for your entire project. When going and submitting for review for the AppExchange, you want to ensure that the Sev1 and Sev2 vulnerabilities are taken care of. One of the other things we can do is we can add an alias to npm to run this command as a shortcut. What I have here is an alias for the scan command that will go and run the output to an analyzer directory. And so if we go and run this command, this will go and output to our analyzer directory. Now that we can successfully run the code analyzer, we can integrate it with VS Code. This way, scanning will be run automatically when we save or open a file. To get started, ensure that you have this extension pack installed. Then inside of the VS Code settings, search for the analyzer commands. You can see we can check for the analyze on open, analyze on save, as well as we have a rules selector where you can determine which rules will be ran when the scan is performed. I prefer using the AppExchange rule selector. What I have here is sample code from the app while I was developing. What I want to be able to do is dynamically grab the name of the record when going and running the Lightning Web Component. The issue is that the Lightning Web Component can be on any object, not just account or opportunity. And so what we need to do is we need to build a SQL query from strings to go and get that name component. And so what we can see when we hover over is we're actually vulnerable to a SQL injection. The recommended way of preventing this is using this string.escape single quotes method, which will go and prevent people from doing nefarious thing with our SQL query. And when I go ahead and save this, we can see that that potential error goes away, which is very good. If that's not the case, one of the things that we can do is write an inline comment to ensure that the security reviewers know, as well as we know, that this was a false positive. Additionally, you'll want to go and add this into the false positives document when submitting your review. And we can see this code at work when we go and run our component. What I have here is the Lightning Web Component on our account record page. And when I go and open it, we can see the OneSync account name when we go and try to navigate away. Additionally, if I wanted to go and use this on the opportunity, we could go and run this as well and see that we have the OneSync consulting record. One final way we can go and run this is by integrating it with our CI/CD. What we can do is we can run the analyzer every single time we push a commit to GitHub. What I have here inside the workflows directory is a scan.yaml file. This will go and on push, we'll go and set up the scanner, and then we'll go and throw an error if any of the following conditions occur. The code analyzer fails to run, the Sev1 or Sev2 violations are greater than 0. This can be adjusted for your coding needs. This gives us a great overview at a high level what our potential issues are at given points of time within our development cycle. One of the biggest differences between consulting and package development is the importance of field level security. When working on a small org, there is a controlled environment and shortcuts on checking read access can and are performed. When performing package level development, it is critical that field level security is observed, as your package is expected to work in various environments. The first thing that I recommend is to use the with sharing keyword. This will ensure that your code respects any sharing that the user has. The next level of thing we can do is check for read, write, update, and delete access at a field level. You can see this with the following method. We can go and perform this check when any user runs the code. And while this is great to go and check methods, it's very tedious if you're updating a lot of fields. With time, Salesforce has introduced new ways to go and make this access a lot easier. One of the things we can do now is pass in an access level to our database callouts. This allows us to go and perform things as the user so that then we still respect the user's permissions. And if there's a potential field that we're writing over, we can catch the DML exception to go and handle this accordingly. There's also a strip.inaccessible method to go and continue working with the same record. You can check more out in the links below. And while we need to go and potentially create, update, and delete data, we also need to read data. And so when we're working with SOQL, we can add this with user mode to the end of our queries to ensure that the correct data access is used. This will go and respect our given role hierarchies. But the best way to prevent this at a large scale is using a third-party library to handle the calls. I've enjoyed using Apex Libra as a way of speeding up development and writing better code. I've been slowly introducing Apex Libra into all of my projects. This is a library that provides a better way of interacting with callouts, queries, databases, and collections. While I was skeptical about using libraries inside of Apex at first, this not only sped up the development time, but also made me enjoy writing Apex again. For example, this contact query, we can go and rewrite with Apex Libra. We can create a new class called contact query that extends the query object. Inside of here, we need to instantiate the query object with a list of fields that we'll use, as well as the contact as object type. From here, we can go and create custom methods that will go and easily give us access to given filters. For example, here, we want to ensure that given a set of emails, we can go and find our contacts. We can query by the email field using the in operator to perform this. And so our previous example where we have the SOQL query as follows gets turned into this method where we instantiate a new instance of the contact query. We query by the emails, we run as the user, and we return a list. One of the potential gotchas about using the Apex Libra is that we need to cast the object as the expected type. So in this case, a list of contacts. And while working with lists is not a huge time save, we do get a little bit of shared code as a result of this. But what I would say is that the advantage of the library comes not from using lists, but other collections, such as maps. Let's take an example where we want to get the contacts by email. We would go and run the same query where we go and query all of the contacts based on the email. We would then want to go and iterate through the list of contacts and put them into a map, finally returning the map. I've probably written a function similar to this 50 times in the past year. It's pretty common in Apex. With Apex Libra, what we can do is we can go and take that same contact query, and instead of going and returning the list, we can say get map by field, which will go and use the contact email as the key, as well as the contact as the value for our map, thus reducing the amount of overhead code we are writing. There are also a lot of other really cool tricks that I use to make this app better. This includes using a skeleton loader to make it appear as that the page is loading faster, as well as injecting CSS to make a reactive component that can fit anywhere in a grid layout system. If you were interested in seeing these in more detail, let me know by leaving a comment.